The Raptors have been eliminated from postseason contention by the Cavs. In fact, they've been eliminated by Cleveland for 3 consecutive postseasons, were swept twice. Definitely not playing well, so they had to make a change. So now we welcome in the guy responsible for calling the Raptors games, Matt Devlin, the extraordinaire who knows everything about Toronto basketball. Matt, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
Hey, the first question I have to ask you, and I asked you this off camera, is there a feeling of excitement now that you're bringing in a Kawhi Leonard who's arguably one of the top 5 players in the NBA?
All right. Well, I think, number one, DeMar DeRozan, as I mentioned to you, is somebody that is so highly regarded in this community, is somebody that chose to re-sign here, didn't take another visit when he was a free agent, is a place that, he's really grown as an individual. As great as he is as a player, he's an even better person. His work ethic, his humility, and I think all of that factors into, from a fan base, a little bit of, DeMar, has been here. He's been the guy. But then when you think about the other side of it, which is if Kawhi Leonard is healthy, if you get the player that he has been in the past, excluding the 9 games that he played this past season, as you mentioned, you're talking about a top 5 player in the NBA. Yes, it may just be for one season, but with the way the contracts are set up right now, I think that this is something that if you're Masai Ujiri, you look at and you say, you know what, let's go for it now. Because if you kept everything together the way it was, you may ultimately be hitting the reset button anyway next summer. So why not go after Kawhi Leonard and bring him in? And he did that. And if he's a player that he's been in the past, now all of a sudden, the Raptors are in that conversation with the Celtics and certainly with Philadelphia in the Eastern Conference.
So in the Eastern Conference, clearly, like you said, they're mentioned in that conversation. And Masai Ujiri clearly rolling the dice, going all in, bringing Kawhi Leonard to the Eastern Conference. But you have DeMar DeRozan leaving, and you mentioned how important he is. Is it disappointing in a sense to see him leaving the Raptors franchise?
Well, yeah, I think he's, look, he brought the franchise. He was somebody that won 23 games and at one time, and in his final season there won 59 games. Went to the Eastern Conference Finals, brought the organization along with Kyle Lowry and Dwayne Casey to places that they hadn't been before. When you look at the greatest players that have ever played for the Raptors, DeMar DeRozan is at the top of the list, and that's because of where they went collectively. But when you think about where you want to go as an organization and where you want to put this franchise, the question I'm sure that Masai Ujiri struggled with was, okay, how do we get a player that's top 5? The opportunity was there because Kawhi Leonard does not want to stay in San Antonio. San Antonio wants to do a deal now instead of having him walk away for free next summer. And so if you're Masai Ujiri, you're going to take that chance to get a top 5 player. A season ago, as we all know, when Paul George went to Oklahoma City, everybody said he was going to the Lakers. And look at what happened. He ended up re-signing there. So now you have a player, I don't know a GM, I don't know a president of an organization that doesn't believe once they're able to get a player in that they can't change their mind, right? Recruit them over the course of a 10, 11-month period of time. If he decides to stay, then obviously you won the lottery. If he decides to go, then what you're doing is you're essentially starting that rebuild process maybe right around the time that maybe you would have anyway, because you look at last season getting swept in the second round, the season before losing in the Eastern Conference Finals, the season prior to that losing to the Washington Wizards in a sweep. So I think that Masai Ujiri believed that they had achieved, this group had achieved what it could, and it was time to take a different path.
And Matt, you know your city very well. You know the franchise very well. What can Masai do? What can you do? What can the fans do to make Kawhi feel welcome, to make him want to stay?
Well, look, the number one thing, as we all know, is win, right? If you win, that really helps. And if you end up getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and beating Boston or Philadelphia and you get to an NBA Finals, that's really going to help your cause. But as both of you know, this is a world-class city, and it is an absolutely spectacular place to live. It's a multicultural city. It's an unbelievable fan base, as we all know. And I think that he'll come here and he'll see all of that. And hopefully, this ends up being, the season that quite possibly it could be, which is, have that opportunity to return to the Eastern Conference Finals as they did 2 seasons ago, and quite possibly for the first time ever get to an NBA Finals as an organization.
Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us today on NBA TV. Thanks for the knowledge.
You got it. Anytime, you know it.
So, of course, NBA Twitter is on fire. Paul George chiming in with the SMH.
Keep on shaking that head.
We got more coming for you. After